News Channel 5 Network. This is MorningLine with Nick Beres.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us on Morning Line. Nick Beres here with you on a Thursday. All right, we're in November. The countdown is on to Thanksgiving. You know, we all maybe have different traditions around Thanksgiving. It's not always just all about turkey, but food. We're going to talk about food this morning. It doesn't have to be just Thanksgiving if you don't want to go there. You have other questions. You're welcome to listen in or call in as we talk recipes and the like with one of the top chefs here in the city of Nashville. And keep in mind, when I say that, that means a lot because, especially in recent years, I think the city of Nashville has turned into a culinary mecca with some spectacular chefs, some fantastic restaurants. I mean, on par with some of the other cities. When you think of top cities, if you've traveled around the country that you think are known for restaurants, and every large city has some nice restaurants, but for me, I think San Francisco, I think Washington, D.C., I think, of course, New York, okay? I mean, you can't survive as a restaurant in New York unless it's really good. New Orleans. Those are some of them that pop. And I think Nashville now has become in that realm, even though in a lot of ways we're not as big as many of those cities. But we're going to talk this morning about the restaurant biz, about some recipes for Thanksgiving with chef star from Anzie Blue. Oh, she's kind of a celebrity chef. She's kind of a big deal. She has this great restaurant that's going away soon. What's that all about, chef star?
Hey, well, sometimes you have to pivot and do things different.
You're pivoting. Okay, that doesn't mean her food is going away. But,
no, the food's not going anywhere.
Okay, how long had Anzie Blue been, how long have you been there?
Okay, so December 2019, they opened as a CBD store.
When?
December 2019.
2019. Okay, this is over at Belcourt,
in Belmead.
Right? Or in Belmead. Okay,
right. And then January 21, they moved to Belcourt.
Okay.
And then May of 21, I became the executive chef.
All right.
So we're a baby.
A while, and you know, your recipes, and you've written a book, A Star Among Us. People love your food, but the thinking here, just for folks who maybe haven't been there and you're going to have time, you just basically have about a month to...
December 18th.
December 18th.
So you got to get on out there.
But the idea is you're going to go full catering.
Yeah, I'm going to go events and catering. For a small business like mine to be, you know, just a local place that people only want to frequent short amount of times. I have high food costs, high labor. Those kind of things really did impact the decision to go events. And then number two, in that size frame for events, it's not a lot of places in Nashville that size. If you only got, you know, 100 or 200 people, you know, you don't want to spend 15 grand.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just want to have a nice space and then you build it how you want. That's what I'm going to do. It's going to be like build your own catering.
I think that's pretty neat. Yes. And you know what I think people don't realize, and I often wonder, your first love is cooking, food. Being a chef. And I think most everyone who's ever run a restaurant or owned a restaurant will say it is one of the toughest businesses there is, with how much you have to juggle, how competitive it is. We've seen so many restaurants come and go over the years. And someone with your background, first and foremost, as a culinary chef, the creativity, but then running the business side of things, trying to do both, that's a whole different ballgame.
That's a whole, being an owner and being the chef at the same time is very difficult. It's hard to juggle those because those are two very important jobs. Yeah. Independently of one another.
And they require different talents. And some people can do them both. Some people may be better. I imagine you would say you're a better chef than business person.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay, you're so creative. You can just tell with your personality and all that. Well, I just thought I'd mention that to folks, and we'll touch on that again at the end. But really, you're on here to talk about food, not biz.
My baby.
And Thanksgiving coming up. You know, when you come on, I always I'm going to try to stump her with something. And I like to bring vegetables with me on set.
Right.
Okay, so.
Let's go.
Okay, what am I holding here? Now, Rebecca Schleicher still has a garden that's producing in her backyard before this. And she brought in a bunch of eggplants. And I just think this eggplant, to me, is one of the most beautiful vegetables. I mean, it's just purple and perfect. Look at this. Now, any number of things. And I was going to ask you, and it looks fake, doesn't it? This is the real deal. Tell me about eggplant. And do you like eggplant?
I do like it.
I mean, it just happened that this was what was in our break room, and I knew chef was coming on. I thought I'd bring in an eggplant.
And
I thought, let's just ask her what she thinks about eggplants. What should I do with this eggplant?
I like to cut it in strips, bake it a little bit, and roll stuff in it.
Okay, so you cut it in strips, and then you do you peel it?
Bottom off.
Do you peel the skin off?
No.
Okay, you leave the skin on.
Yes, you just don't. I just don't ever use the first piece when I do.
Okay.
Right, and so I make I take a mandolin and I slice it pretty thin, and then I make an awesome stuffing.
Some kind of
maybe like a seafood stuffing, or you can even just do vegetables.
Really? So, but you're saying first, when you do the strips, you lay them on a pan and you bake them briefly first before
just to
you
get them soft.
Just to get them soft, and then once it gets that way,
stuff it.
You stuff it and you roll
it up,
and then you bake it again.
I throw some cheese on top. I bake it again.
Gosh, how would you describe the eggplant? Is a delicate flavor. What is the dip? Baba ganoush? Is that what is made out of eggplant? There's certain types of dips you can puree.
And make
dips.
It's just very, I don't know. I guess it's hard to believe. It's kind of like vegetable-y but savory at the same time.
Yeah, it's an interesting taste.
He's got his own personality.
When they think eggplant, if you ask them the most common dish, maybe eggplant parmesan, something along those lines. But anyways, I just thought I'd bring that in. I don't know if that would be on your menu for Thanksgiving.
I told him I'm a real chef.
I'm going to try what you said in terms of you can stuff it with whatever you have an idea of.
Yeah, whatever you like.
But once you roll it, how do you keep it from unrolling?
Just roll it on itself.
On itself, and then you set it and bake it.
Bake it.
How long would you say? It depends
I like to bake it at a pretty high temperature for a short amount of time.
Okay.
And it gives it a little bit of crispy on top.
So it's kind of roasted and it gets crunchy.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes just the basic thing is I'll sometimes slice it across the whole way like it's a chip.
Yeah.
So not too thin, and then I will maybe just throw it in, season it a bit, and then toss it, not a deep fryer, but just some oil in a pan and brown it on each side.
Oh, yeah.
And
Delicious.
just eat it like a chip or something.
Salt and pepper.
Yeah, salt and pepper.
That's all you need.
That's it. What is it? You know, my wife gets on me about this. How do you feel about condiments? I mean, oftentimes I'll have a nice cut of meat or a nice cut of fish, and I'll put so many seasonings on it because I have them all down here. And she'll go, Nick, how about just cooking the food and just putting something small on there to augment it, but let the food taste itself instead of seasoning it. There's a fine line there, isn't there? I mean,
it's a fine line between giving it depths of flavor and going, a little bit too much.
And that's a trick. You learn what seasonings maybe bring out flavors in certain foods, which I can't say that I know. I know if I like it when I try it. But you just said it. Salt and pepper sometimes
is all you need. That is the base of Southern cooking, just salt and pepper.
Just salt and pepper. Salt, pepper, and fat.
Fat. Lots of it. Bacon if you got it.
Is lard?
Lard is good.
You ever cook with lard?
Yeah, I like to make biscuits with it.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that. You've made biscuits, and those are the best.
They're the best. It's a whole different texture than the butter.
It is. And is it, would you say also the flavor?
Yeah, for sure. You could taste the difference.
So fat is flavor.
That's what it is. That's why the Southern food is the food that people find homey, right?
Right.
I mean, it's other cultures. Everybody has their own homey feel. But for us in the South, I tell people, if you're a real Southern cook, you really know how to make gravies. You can make a good roux and biscuits.
And biscuits. I think you're right. And maybe, country ham sometimes, things like that. You like country ham?
No, I don't.
Yeah, it's my wife.
It's very salty.
It's a little piggy.
A little bit.
It's a little piggy.
A little bit, yeah.
All right, so we're going to talk about a wide range of topics here. We're going to take a break. We can take some phone calls, and people can touch on some of their Southern dishes, but we'll go toward Thanksgiving. I'm looking at some of the things, candied sweet potatoes, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
you gotta have
you make good ones. Green bean casserole,
yeah.
Cranberry sauce, chicken dressing, rosemary roasted chicken. You've got all kinds of recipes in your book, which is right there, and some ideas maybe for Thanksgiving. We'll get into it. Maybe you can give us a Southern twist on a Thanksgiving meal that's something different, that someone, maybe if they want to stick with all of what they make every year, but want to try something, one separate dish that's new, maybe you have some suggestions.
Okay,
we'll be right back with Chef Star and your calls, questions, comments right after this. Stay with us.